Hey, what's up, Facebook? How are you this afternoon? Hope all is well. I want you to stay tuned to this live because this is some information that you have got to hear about and be in tune to. So you all know that oftentimes most times I'm talking about things that help people as far as body wellness goes. But today we're going to be talking about financial wellness. And I have a special guest that I bring on. This man knows about money, not just how to make it, he absolutely knows how to take people from where they are financially to where they want to be. And I have the privilege of calling him one of my friends and mentors. Hello, Mr. Brian House. How are you?
Hey, Boomy, I'm great. How are you?
Man, I'm so excited. I can't stand it. I'm excited to have you on here with me today. I just love giving people value and knowledge and just helping them to do better. And this conversation between us today is not going to be long, but it's truly going to help people in the financial realm. So today, guys, we are talking financial wellness. So stay tuned to that. So, Brian, the first thing I want to talk about is this. I want to talk a little bit about your background really quickly because people may not know you. You know, I know you as that man who has started several multi-million dollar companies. You've been successful since you've been in your 20s, but it didn't always start out that way. You always say, you know, you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but you happened to achieve some great things. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, well, Boomy, I've been in business for over 30 years. And like you said, I've owned, this is my fourth multi-million dollar debt-free company, which
Mm.
is a major blessing, obviously. But my background started in the credit restoration industry in business. That was the first business that I ever started 30 years ago. And my company, I built it to 13 offices throughout the United States. Ended up bringing it into the network marketing arena with a company you were familiar with called FDI, or Financial Destination Incorporated. And then uh, from there, we always stayed involved in the financial solutions industry because I was always passionate about it. I believed it was something that was much needed. It's always been needed. It's something that we've always been lacking. And you know as well as I do, being in business, it's all about fulfilling a need and meeting that need for what people need the most. And so when we looked at putting this company together, I'm kind of fast forwarding. I'm not going to go through all my businesses as far as my credit business, as far as building a network, as far as having the second largest glass repair and replacement company in the United States. I could go on with that stuff, but uh, this here's my passion. This is something that I've always believed in. I've always been motivated about, and a lot of it started from when I was in school. I actually went to Cincinnati Bible College and Seminary. I was going to go into youth ministry, and I realized that I got called. I feel like I got called to be in business, and one of the things that I was struggling with back in those days was my credit, and so I got my credit straightened out by a gentleman that helped me out. I ended up getting involved with his company as a partner. Make a long story short, opened another office, bought him out 6 months later, and went on to build a multi-million dollar credit restoration program. But the challenge was is that with just credit restoration, we realized that we were just creating a band-aid for most people. If you just helped them with that portion of their finances, if they didn't have all the other tools in place, then they would go out and repeat the process. They would end up uh, making the same mistakes over and over again. And so we realized we wanted to be more of a complete financial solutions company. And that's where we ended up partnering up. That's where I met you when we partnered up with FDI, brought that service over. And I was blessed not only to be a service provider, but to build a huge organization with that company. We built an organization, about 28,000 people throughout the United States, did extremely well with that. On top of adding that service into a financial solutions membership, which is similar to what we have here. We just added in the missing pieces of the puzzle and kind of filled in the blank, so to speak, to make it more of a complete. financial solutions company that can take people from A to Z. Literally, wherever they are now, we can take them to wherever they want to be, do it in a way that's affordable for the average consumer. And when I say average, obviously, you know me, I don't mean insignificant in any way, but there's a lot of people out there that are living paycheck to paycheck. They're struggling, and this is making a huge difference in their lives, because no matter what their challenges are, we have the solution for it. So
Yeah.
that was a long-winded explanation of all that.
Well, I'm glad you just shared your background, because we have some people joining us right now who were with us, what, 15 years ago now? I don't know, however long that was, over 10 years ago, when I met you, when we were with a Financial Destination, and people loved you back then because of how you just impacted their lives in the credit realm. They got to see you as a networker as well, being very successful, not just as a vendor, but actually in the trenches, building a network too. And I don't think people knew about your background, all the awesome exploits. So thank you for sharing that. But now let's fast forward, guys. So those of you who were with us in FDI, we know you love the financial realm, and there were a lot of struggles that people were going through back then financially, and FDI, Financial Destination, surely filled in the gap. But Brian, I want you to talk about some of the statistics of what's going on in our country now financially, because we are still in a financial crisis, aren't we?
Yeah, it actually bigger than it's ever been in history, other than maybe in the Depression. Right now, we're looking at in 2015. I'll just kind of give you an idea of what's happened over the last 4 years. Everybody knows what happened in 2008 with the market crash, with real estate market, all of that, which kind of everybody's kind of recovered from that, but we're also going back into a little bit of a slump. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. In 2015, about 54% of the population was living paycheck to paycheck. So a little over half, okay? That's kind of expected, maybe. Right now, though, in 2019, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, we're looking at over 78% of the American population is living paycheck to paycheck. And so that's a very high percentage. And the reason that's happening is just because of the way the system is designed. And I'll give you just a brief example of how this works, and I'll cover a few more statistics in just a second. But if you look at what we've all been taught to get a good education, and you probably heard this before, but I want you to pay attention to the way I'm saying it, because it'll really break it down, and it'll explain to you how the problem was created, how the challenge was created. And let me get rid of this message here real quick. The way it is that we're all taught typically to go get a good education so that we can then get a good job. And then when we get that good job, what do? We end up giving 1/3 of our income to the government to pay for taxes, okay? When we give 1/3 of our income to the government to pay taxes, we then end up using credit to finance a lifestyle or to make up the difference for what that 1/3 took from our income. Okay, so when we do that, we end up typically giving up another 1/3 to the credit and banking industry. So now we've got 2/3 of our income that's gone because now we've accumulated debt. So that money is now going, that credit that we used, accumulated debt, has us with another 1/3 going to the credit and banking industry. And then we're left with the remaining 1/3 to cover our normal living expenses, our utilities, our gas, just normal things that we do on a day-to-day basis. And then after that, we're left with the responsibility of trying to figure out how to save or invest enough for retirement, which right now we're in the biggest retirement crisis in American history. Literally, over 60% of the American population at age 65 will have or 70%, I'm sorry, over 70% of the American population will have less than $5,000 saved at age 65. Think about that. To me, that's just, it's unbelievable that there's even a statement like that that can be made in the richest country in the world, okay? But that's what's happening. And it's because of this system. It is not designed for people to win. It's designed to keep people showing up to work every Monday, not for you to be wealthy. And this scenario has also created other challenges. So you look at 78% of the American population's living paycheck to paycheck. You
Mm-hmm.
have over 80% of the population that is suffering with some type of a credit issue, something that is uh, maybe not keeping them from qualifying for a loan or for lending, but it's costing them more money. They have enough negative information on their credit file to keep them from obtaining normal financing, meaning they're either in a high risk category or they're paying more than what they really should have to. So that's a challenge. Then, with that scenario, you have over 90% of the population that is servicing some type of debt. They're carrying some type of debt, which debt is obviously a big challenge because as long as you're paying interest, that's money you can't save, invest, or pay yourself. And so, with all these scenarios and the statistics that you're looking at, uh, it's really caused people to go backwards. And then you've got,
Mm-hmm.
you can go into more technical things like how we no longer have pensions for most people. Most people back in the 80s, pensions kind of went away and we went to a 401k system that is really, and you can read this yourself, guys. Don't take my word for it. The 401k is recognized as the biggest retirement scam in history. Okay.
Wow.
Don't take my word for it. Google it. You can Google anything, these statistics, everything I'm talking about. But people have bought into that and they're literally putting themselves into a position to where they may not ever be able to retire. So
Wow.
that's,
Man, those are some staggering statistics, and people are commenting. Uh, Cubby said, just to get back to even from the market crash in 2008, it took 5 years. So, how many 5 year periods do we have? Do you have? So, this is an important money conversation that we're having today, guys. Most people who come to my page, they see me talking about wellness, body wellness, which is, of course, really important. I always say your health is your greatest wealth, but then don't have your body well and your bank account be sick. You got to learn more about money. You have to become financially literate. And so all of those things that Brian was just talking about, Brian, we're the kind of people that we just don't sit by and talk about something. We like to take action and do something about it. And so I want to talk about what you've decided to do about these statistics. But let me first tell my story, because it was last year around this time in June that I happened to call a good friend of ours, Terrence Hawkins. And Terrence has one of the most thriving tax practices in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was talking to him about some business things. And he said, "Hey, Boomy, have you heard about what Brian House has put together?" And I was like, "No, what?" He said, "Oh, you haven't heard about Make Wealth Real Financial?" And I said, "Well, no, tell me about it." And so he went on to tell me about this financial membership. And the first thing I thought, Brian, was, oh my gosh, I need that. And everybody who's in network marketing needs this, because a lot of people in our industry, they make a lot of money, but still don't have a lot of money. And I'm going to be transparent. First thing I saw was, oh my gosh, I've got some tax issues. I need help with that. And I need help not with just saving on taxes, but with some tax issues that need to be straightened out. Then I didn't have a credit score in 800. So, man, I needed help with credit restoration. Did I accumulate debts over the years? Absolutely. I needed a plan for getting out of debt. And truly, I was behind on my wealth building. So I'm like, okay, I looked at myself first and I thought, it doesn't matter how successful you are perceived to be, the money that you're making, we all need to do better financially. So for me, I was like, I need this. And so tell us a little bit more about how you came up with this financial solutions membership that helps with all those things you were just talking about.
Well, first of all, you can go back to the statistics, because the thought process of putting together a complete financial solutions company was based on the principles that we needed to remedy all those challenges. But our real
Mm-hmm.
goal was, and I say this all the time, is that we wanted to be able to provide people with a complete solution that would take them from wherever they are. Okay, whether they have $2 in their pocket, $2 million in their pocket, or anywhere in between, we wanted to take
Mm-hmm.
them from wherever they are to wherever they wanted to be. And so, in order to be able to do that, and when you think about the name of the company, MWR, Make Wealth Real Financial, MWR Financial, uh, we wanted to provide a realistic way to do that. Not all the hype that you see out here, not all this, hey, if you get involved with us, you're going to make a fortune and all this stuff. we wanted to provide them with the best ways to be able to accomplish this. And so that's where we started at. And then we looked at the statistics. Where are all the challenges at? Where are all the challenges at? What we just talked about. And so in order to help people get their finances in order, one of the biggest misconceptions out there is, well, if I work on my credit, then I'm going to be in good shape. Or if I just eliminate my debt, then I'll be where I need to be. Or if I just do this, oh, boom, you're waving at me. If no, but they think that if you take one piece of the puzzle and you just do the right thing with it, then everything will just work itself out. And in reality, that's not how it works. I mean, all these areas of your finances, taxes, credit, debt, savings, investments, being able to handle inflation, being able to take care of income limits, all of these pieces, if you don't have all of those things in alignment or working together, then you're still going to end up not getting where you want to be. Okay? One piece of the puzzle does not solve all of it. Okay? You've got to have all these pieces. So we put all these pieces in place. And I'll just give you, if you want, Boomy, I can kind of give you just a rundown of what I mean by all these pieces of the puzzle in place. One is taxes. That's where we start at first. Remember that job I talked about where you're giving up 1/3 of your income to the federal government just to pay taxes? Well, the problem is most people are overpaying on their taxes and they don't realize that. Okay? But what happens when you overpay on your taxes? You think getting a refund at the end of the year is a good thing. Okay? It's not a good thing.
No,
it doesn't make any financial sense. It says on your tax return, don't look at the word that just says refund. Look at the end of the line where it says this is the amount you overpaid. Okay? But here's the problem. Illiterate people, and I do not mean this to hurt anybody's feelings, but financially illiterate people, they overpay on their taxes. Wealthy people don't overpay on their taxes. People that are financially astute do not overpay on their tax. They don't overpay on anything. I can tell you. Okay? And I learned this lesson the hard way because I did it myself. Early on in my life, I did it. But they overpay on their taxes. Well, when you overpay and you give more money to the government every single month than what you're supposed to, then what happens? You have to make up the difference. You have to make up the difference. So that's where you get sucked into the credit and banking industry. So now you've overpaid. So let me go put what I need this month because I'm short on my check. Let's go put that on a credit card. So now I'm paying interest on money that I really could have had in my pocket, but I had to borrow it. So now I'm overpaying on my taxes, but it's also cost me to have to pay interest. Does that make sense?
Right. You know what? Sometimes everybody who's watching, I want you to really stop and think about what Brian House is saying. I mean, if we are allowing Uncle Sam to have an interest-free loan on our money all year, who in the world will we ever loan money to all year and not get anything back? Maybe our grandkids, but you certainly wouldn't want to do that to the government, right? And so we need to think about, how do wealthy people align their money? What do they do? And we need to start doing those things. So, Brian, you came up with one of the concepts. You don't have to get too far into it, but an instant pay raise concept that has to do with saving on taxes and teaching people how to align their money like the wealthy and not to give that interest-free loan on their money all year.
Yeah, and the key to that, Boomy, is that we've taken a different approach. You know me, I am very big on financial education and literacy, but we've taken a different approach on it. Instead of educating people and then expecting them to go out and implement that knowledge on their own, one of the things that we did with MWR Financial is we said, no. We're not going to put people into a position to where they can potentially make a mistake. We wanted to be able to provide them with experts that actually did the work for them, and which has been the best move we could have ever made. That was not putting a feather in my cap, but it was brilliant. And the reason it was brilliant is because those being able to provide experts that do it for you get you immediate results, but you also get educated through the process. And so, see, instead of educating you and expecting you to go do it on your own, You're getting an education through application. Okay, that's how we
Mhm.
educate. So as it's being done for you, as you're getting the results, you are now also learning what those experts are doing that is helping you become a better steward of your money. You know, it's
Yeah.
the best way. It's like on the job training, so to speak, you know?
Well, and I love this concept. I don't know how you were able to package all of this in one affordable financial membership like you did. I mean, it's just crazy, but I'm glad you did it
Great
because normally
relationship.
when you have advisors like this, when you have these professionals in your life, it I mean, paying $200 an hour is not out of the realm of normally what you're charged for CPAs and CFPs. And like anytime I have any financial question, I can now call up to my people because now I've got people,
You
right?
got people. Yep.
And get this financial question answered, and it's included in my membership. I just love that. So no $200 an hour charge for me, you know?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
that was another thing too. If we were going to help the masses, and when I talk about those statistics, that 78% of the population, that's the masses. That's the
Mhm.
majority. If we were going to help them, well, if they're already living paycheck to paycheck, we couldn't have something that cost them hundreds and thousands of dollars. But we also didn't want to provide a membership or access to these experts and cut quality at the same time.
Mhm.
So we wanted to make sure we maintain quality with some of the best experts in the industry. Okay, so that way they were getting the right type of financial advice from people that were absolutely phenomenal at what they do, and keep the price points low enough to where the average consumer could be able to afford it. But here's the even better part, Fumi. With a lot of what we do, it's designed to help them create more cash flow out of their existing finances in most cases than what it costs. Meaning
Mhm.
that with an instant pay raise, like what you were talking about, us helping them adjust their W 4, helping them stop overpaying the IRS, helping them reduce their tax liability even more through business ownership, uh, and them being able to take advantage of the number one tax break in our tax code, which is business ownership. Them
That's
being able
right.
to do that and having everything they need to do that. Not just experts, but having the tracking, through our automated tracking for expenses and mileage and things like that. That now they're going to be able to start deducting a lot of those things and paying even less in taxes. You know, those are things that I think are huge. But the ability for them to be able to put more money in their pocket immediately than what our program costs, that's huge. That's huge because at that point, you've just gotten involved in a service or a program that is not necessarily making you money, but it's saving you more money than what it cost you every single month. There's not a lot of programs out there that do that. Most programs cost you every month, you know?
Absolutely. I always say that this membership puts money back in your pocket. Literally. It truly costs you more money not to have the membership than to have one. So, I mean, guys, you got to check out this Financial Edge membership. For those of you who are just joining us, we're here talking to Mr. Brian House, CEO of Make Wealth Real Financial, MWR Financial. Brian, I fell in love with the name of the company, MWR Financial, Make Wealth Real, because that's what we need to do. Truly make wealth real in our lives. So many people are always talking about money, but they have no clue what are the steps to take to truly up level their finances. So you're putting this together, but I love the way that you meet people where they are. As you said, whether you have $2 million in your pocket or just $2 in your pocket, you have something for everyone. So we've talked about the tax piece, which is big. Um, we hit on the credit restoration piece, which, when you have that credit score that goes up, then of course you're saving money on how much it costs for you to borrow money. So that's putting money back in your pocket. And Brian, one of the things I love about that piece is that you're not just sending people letters or telling them how to do it. It's a done for you solution. So hit on that real quick, and then let's go to the debt piece.
Yeah, just like everything, all the services we have, they're all done by our experts. So you have to provide us with basic information. So, like when you get set up with our Credit Max program, which is our credit restoration or credit correction and consulting program, when you get set up, all you're going to do is order your credit reports. You're going to agree to our terms and conditions, basically telling you what your rights are under state and federal law, and then what our responsibility is, as well as yours during the process. But what you're going to do is you're going to upload your reports. Our experts are going to analyze those reports. We're going to determine what items are affecting you negatively, and we're going to address those items with each one of the credit reporting agencies, TransUnion, Experian, and CSE, which is also known as Equifax. And so when we do that, all the work's done for you. So basically, you're agreeing to an LPOA, a limited power of attorney, for our experts to handle it in your behalf. And so you don't have to fill out any letters. All you have to do, anything you get back from the credit bureaus as a result of the work we're doing for you, you just upload it into our system. We'll analyze it again, and we'll keep working for you until we get your credit scores back into the best shape possible. And which our average client typically experiences a credit score increase of anywhere between 50 to 150 points, depending on where they start at. Well, that can be huge because
Uh-oh, he's frozen on my side. I don't know if he's frozen on everybody else's side. I'm just going to assume that you guys can't see him, but as he was talking about,
sorry.
Oh, there you go. All right, go ahead.
I got a phone call. Sorry about that. But 50 to 150 point increase on the average, and which can save you literally hundreds and even thousands of dollars on your interest rates, your down payments, your car insurance, your homeowner's insurance premium, everything that's affected by a credit score, which is just about everything we do these days. But I will say this too. Our credit restoration program is a little bit different, Boomy. Our goal is not to help people restore their credit so they can go out and accumulate more debt. Our goal is to help them restore their credit so that they can reduce the existing expenses that they already have. Because our ultimate goal is, with our program, is to help them eliminate any dependency on the credit and banking system.
That's good.
You know, we want them to be their own bank. And so we'll talk about that maybe in a second.
I love it. I love it. And let me tell you guys, because I have a history with Mr. House years ago, I saw people going across the stage in tears because of what his company did for them in the credit realm. Just so excited about the difference you made there. So we talked about the tax savings. We talked about the credit score increase. Now let's talk about debt, because our debts are one of the biggest hindrances to our wealth building. And it wasn't until I really got more in tune, not just to making money, because you know, with my wellness business and all, I'm always into making money and building teams. But when I stopped, because of getting in tune with Make Wealth Real, and I stopped and I listed out all of my debts, I said, oh my gosh, I did not realize how much debt I had gotten myself into. And then I got mad when I realized every single month when I'm paying these finance charges, this is money I could be investing into one of the wealth building strategies, and now it's going to Credit One and Capital One. So talk about this plan to get out of debt, because most people have no clue. Do I pay the highest balances first? Do I pay the highest interest rates? But you have a solution for that. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, and going back again, credit to me is it's a means to an end, I guess you would say. You got to have it. But at the same time, credit is the gateway to debt, and debt is the pathway to poverty. And so that's exactly
Wait, I gotta write that down. Please say that again. Everybody grab your pen and paper. The paper never forgets. And quote Mr. House when you say it, when you post it. Go ahead, Brian.
Credit is the gateway to debt, and then debt is the pathway to poverty. And what I mean to that is that, again, going back and saying what I'm saying, listen, as long as you're paying interest, as long as you're paying a creditor, that's money you can't save, invest, or pay yourself. And this is one of the biggest challenges that most Americans have, because once they get into debt, getting out of debt is one of the hardest things that you will ever do if you don't have a system in place to help you make it happen. And so we have what's called an Equity Max program. It's a debt roll down program. It's a system that we developed that you can plug all your debts into it. Your mortgage, your car loans, your credit cards, your personal loans, your student loans. Every debt you have can be plugged into our Equity Max system. And we're going to give you a plan of action every single month that shows you how to pay off every debt you have. And typically about a third to half of the time, or even less, without you
Mm-hmm.
having to spend one dime more than what you're spending right now.
I
Now,
love it.
people go, well, how do you do that? And well, it's not rocket science, but there are some algorithms and things that go along with it to where once one debt is paid off, the money that was going towards that debt is then applied towards the principal of one or more of the remaining debts. Our system determines where that money should be applied in order to maximize acceleration and interest savings. Now, what do I mean by that? Our goal is to get you out of debt as fast as possible, because the quicker you get out of debt, the more money you're going to save in interest. Okay? Literally, we can, in most cases, we can knock years and even decades off the time that someone's in debt. And by doing
Mm-hmm.
that, we can potentially save them tens and even hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. Money they can now do something wise with financially instead of being a slave to their creditors for the next 40 years.
Wow. Hey, Brian, you have some admirers. People are talking about how you don't age.
Oh, I
They
do.
say he still looks good after all these years. That's what
Oh my
being
God.
debt-free does
I'm,
for
I'm
you.
listen, I'm losing my hair, I'm getting wrinkles and stuff, but hey, I feel great, so that's a good thing. So
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And people are agreeing with you. Yes, it's hard to get out of that credit card debt. And again, that's why this membership is so powerful, because on our own accord, guys, we just don't know. But what Mr. House has put together is putting those experts and the systems in our life that will get it done for us. So with this Equity Max system, I mean, every month it emails you and it's telling you exactly how to pay, what to pay. And as he said, it's powerful when you don't have to spend any more money and you can be out of debt in one half to one third of the time, including your mortgage, including those student loans, including medical bills, all of that. And now that you actually know your debt-free date, I think it's pretty cool to know, like April 27th, 2025, I will be totally debt-free. That's so
yes.
awesome when it's like that light at the end of the tunnel. And now here's a even more exciting thing. Let's now talk about how you can show people how to become a debt-free millionaire. Literally take your debts and turn them into wealth. What does Wealth Max have to offer in this membership? Hey,
Well,
Tammy.
yeah, hey Tammy. No, first thing I'll tell you is that with everything we just discussed, instant pay raise
Mm-hmm.
ends up,
Uh-oh, he has
daggone
another
it.
phone call. There you
Yeah,
go.
sorry. But instant pay raise, that puts more money in your pocket, $300 to $600 on the average per month that we're helping people put back in their pocket from their existing paycheck. Okay, credit
Mm-hmm.
restoration, potentially hundreds and even thousands of dollars that could save you in interest and all the things that go along with, your credit score by getting it into the best shape possible. Then you get out of debt and maybe you're paying $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 a month that's going towards a creditor. Once you've freed that money up, or even a portion of that money, with our Wealth Max program, we wanted to put in place what we, and this is not what we consider, it's just a fact, the best way for people to save, grow, and protect their money tax-free with no risk of loss. It's called a private reserve account. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same strategy the wealthy have been using for decades. Here's what I'm going to say. Uh, Majority of people that have a private reserve account, okay, there's only about 6% of the population that has a private reserve account. Out of that 6% of the population, 97% of them make over $250,000 or more per year. So that's a clue. That's a clue.
Mm-hmm.
That's where wealthy people are putting their money. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of reasons for it. I'm going to give you a few of them here in just a second. But one is the no risk of loss, the ability to be able to capitalize on market returns. And if the market ever tanks, you don't lose any money. So you maintain what you've earned. Okay. That's a huge bonus right there. So no risk of loss. The other thing is that you're being taxed on the seed and not the harvest. Like, see, when I
Mm-hmm.
talked about the 401k, for example, okay, you're taxed on the harvest. So you're put in a small amount, but as it accumulates and grows, when you go to pull it out, you're getting taxed on the big amount. Okay.
Wow.
That's not the way to invest. That you
No.
don't do things that way. Okay. But So that's another benefit. And it's, you have money that is tax free that you're able to withdraw from this. And we'll talk about withdrawing money from a private reserve account, because this is one of the most powerful things that I've ever seen in the financial industry. And it's called arbitrage. I'm going to throw out a big word here, and I don't want to confuse you, but arbitrage is the same principle that the banks use when they lend your money to someone else. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's called arbitrage. Let me explain to you how it works. Let's say you ended up getting a private reserve account and you've started funding this private reserve account. Well, you're going to be put into a position to where you can literally become your own bank. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you accumulated $50,000 in a private reserve account, and it's earning interest. You're gaining money on it as the stock market is gaining. You're gaining money. If the stock market goes down, you don't lose any money. But
awesome.
Let's say you put 50,000. You got 50,000. You started out maybe with $100 a month. Okay. Here's the other thing most people don't know. They think I've got to have a ton of money to be able to participate in something like that, because that's what wealthy people use. Wrong. Mm-hmm. Wrong. You don't. You can start out with what you're doing now with a 401k. You could start out with $100 a month, whatever it is. But I don't want to get off track here, but I'm going to explain to you the self-banking feature of this, because this is the most exciting part to me. We can talk about retirement all we want, which the retirement benefits are huge. Okay. But let's face it, we live in a microwave society. Most people want to know, well, how's it going to help me right now?
Right now, right.
Okay. All right. So let's explain to it how it's going to help them right now. You put money into a private reserve account. Over a few years, it accumulates. Let's say you've got $50,000 accumulated in a private reserve account, and you decide you're going to go buy a car. So you say, I'm going to pull out $30,000 out of my private reserve account. You did it tax-free. You didn't have any penalties that you have to pay. Okay. You didn't have to fill out a loan application because you borrowed it from yourself. You're the bank. Okay. So you borrowed it from yourself. You didn't have to worry about whether or not you qualified. Okay. You pulled that 30,000 out of that 50,000, and you went and bought your car. And then you set up your own loan terms to pay yourself back. So you can pay yourself 1% interest, 2%, 5%, 10%. You can pay whatever you want. Okay. Mm-hmm. You set your own terms to pay yourself back. Here's the amazing part about this. That $30,000 that you borrowed out of your private reserve account, well, you're still earning interest on that money as if it never left your account.
That's huge.
You're still gaining profit on that money as if you still have $50,000 in your account. Not just 20,000. You would think, well, I pulled out 30,000, so I've only got 20,000 left. That's all I'm earning. No. You're getting to capitalize on what I just mentioned, arbitrage. It's where your money continues to earn interest as if it never left that account.
Okay, let me interject here, Brian. So this is really exciting because making wealth real, guys, you should be able to see how with this concept you can truly do that. So we know that when we put our money into a savings account at the bank, the money really isn't in that account. They have it out, investing it, working it. They pay us 0.5%, right? And they're earning 100% on our money. So it's like that's the same concept, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
But you're the bank, so you're in total control.
We're the bank.
It's your money. It's your money. You should be able to use it the way you want without being penalized, and that's what a PRA does. But here's the thing that you really got to understand. Going back to that statistic, 97% of that 6% of the population that has a PRA, $250,000 a year. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, you probably never would have known about a private reserve account. Wow. You know why? Because the only people in that industry that are the only people that are marketed to in that industry for that product are people that have a significant amount of money. Mm-hmm. So the average person who needs it more who needs a private reserve account more, the guy making or the gal making 30, 40, 50, $60,000 a year, they need that same advantage more than the guy, I believe, that, or the gal that makes $250 to $1 million a year.
Wow.
But they'll never hear about it because they're not in that income bracket. We're changing that. We're disrupting the industry. We're saying, this needs to be made available to everyone. Instead of putting people into 401ks and IRAs and mutual funds and all these things that are not getting them where they want to be financially, they need a tool that is going to be able to get them where they want to be in the future, but also benefit them right now. I can tell you right now, wealthy people do not go to the bank and borrow money to buy a car, to buy a house.
That's right.
Okay? They go to their private reserve account. They borrow it from themselves. They keep their money making money while they're using it. Isn't that a novel concept?
Guys, powerful wealth strategies and concepts brought to you by MWR Financial. And it's not going to cost your firstborn child for you to get into this system. Now, we have people in here extolling your virtues. Tyra saying, man, this is awesome. She loves the information. Donna saying she's on her job listening, taking notes. This system and these services. She just recently joined. I think Cass told her about it. And joining is changing her life, she says. And that's why you put this together, to change people's lives financially, right?
It is. That's exactly what it is. And I'm very blessed and fortunate. My wife and I, this is not something we had to do. It was a passion. And listen, Boomy, you've heard me say this over and over again. I respect everyone's faith, but this was a ministry for me. When we looked around and we saw what was happening, majority of people's problems revolve around finances. And it's not because they have too much money. It's not because they're doing the right things. It's because they were never given this knowledge, and they were never given a way to apply it to where it was going to have the impact that it needed to help them restore their families. And so I don't mean to sound cliche-ish and you know, like I'm giving some CEO speech. I'm not. This is just from my heart. We know what's going on out there. We know that, you know, the leading cause of child abuse, spousal abuse, divorce in America today revolves around financial issues. That's where most of it stems from. Not all of it, but the majority of it. We also know stress-related illnesses. I mean, Boomy, you're in the health and wellness industry too. And, you know, but stress-related illnesses, where do most people's stress come from? It's not because they're doing so great, but they can. And the problem is most people can do great with what they have. Doesn't mean they can't do better. And we got a way to help them with that too. But, you know, most people can do great with what they have if they understand how to apply these principles. And the great thing is they don't have to go get a financial education. They don't have to try to be a CPA. They don't have to try to be an enrolled agent with the IRS. They don't have to try to be a certified financial planner. They don't have to try to be a credit expert or a debt expert or a licensed agent or an investment strategist. They don't have to try to do any of those things. All they have to do is plug into a program that gives them all the experts that do every single one of those things for them.
Yes,
and get the results.
That's what I love.
That's
People
it.
to do things for me. I
Amen.
love it. I love it. So I don't have to go back to school. I don't have to get any degrees or certifications. I just plug into your system and plug into the experts and let the experts do the work. Meanwhile, what I do love, this has made me more financially conscious. And I have learned some more things thanks to MWR Financial. And now I feel blessed that I get to share this with others. So always on my Facebook page, I'm always giving value. As I said, most times it's about body wellness and, you know, and health and how our bodies can heal itself. But guys, we got to get both of those things right, both health and wealth. And so today we're talking about financial wellness with CEO of MWR Financial, Mr. Brian House. Guys, find out more about this financial membership. Whoever shared this video with you, get back to them and say, hey, I heard what you guys were talking about. I want to find out more about MWR. Tell me about that instant pay raise. Tell me about how I can get all these services. So as we get ready to end, Brian, tell us, because I don't want people thinking, okay, well, it's probably $400 for the credit restoration. It's probably $100 a month for the wealth people, and it's probably something else for the Money Max. Talk to us about how you put this all under one umbrella.
Yeah, and listen, every time I do these lives like this, I keep thinking we probably ought to raise the price, but we're not going to.
Right. They're not going to
But
be able to believe
you
it.
know, because all I hear is $200 to $300 an hour for a CPA. You know, credit restoration
Right.
programs can cost you hundreds and thousands of dollars. Debt elimination programs, 3,500. We've seen some programs. Having investment and advisors, and it can range into hundreds of thousands of dollars. We do all of this
Yes.
for $79.97 a month, and that includes both a husband and wife, because we know that whenever two are gather or come together, they become one, and so
Yeah.
it's available for both a husband and wife with one membership, and then there's no contracts, there's no setup fees,
Hey,
and we
hey,
do that.
Brian, people, I gotta stop you because people aren't believing. They're thinking,
I
does
know.
he mean like $795, $7,995? No,
No,
guys. Like less than what you're going to spend this weekend for dinner when you go out. 79.95. That's it. Like
seven.
79.95. Incredible. Totally
Uh,
incredible. That's why we said it literally costs you more money if you don't have the membership than if you do. As an entrepreneur, building a thriving business in this industry, I said, I need this membership. And then that's right, Francis, $79.95. And then when I got the membership, I'm like, I gotta tell some of my friends about this because people need to get their money in order. They need to get their finances on track. I know people making $300,000 a year and they're still struggling because they don't have the things in place that this membership helps them to put in place. I thank you for what you put together, but now you also have an incredible way for people to make it free. That's crazy. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, anytime someone becomes a member, a Financial Edge member, they receive a referral link, and if they want to refer other customers, they're excited about their results. They want to share it with friends or family or whoever. Uh, if they refer three customers, three other members, and and as long as those members remain active, their membership is absolutely free. So we waive their $79.97 a month by them being able to refer three other customers that remain active. So yeah, it's three and free. So pretty
Wow.
simple. So,
Get three and yours is free. So literally, you can get the membership for yourself and that same month start sharing this information with other people. We're not even talking about being in the business. Just as a customer, you could do this and now never have to pay that $79 again because you have three or more people referred. And we have got to get on a crusade helping people to get their finances right, guys. We are in a financial crisis right now in this country. And so we got to help people to do better. People that you know, who you love, your family members, your church members. Everybody has one of these issues. They're overpaying in taxes. Most of them are living paycheck to paycheck. Their credit score isn't where they want it to be. They're in debt. They're stressed out and they truly aren't building wealth. My goodness. I mean, what's the statistics on that, Brian, as far as how many people are able to retire, truly retire and have six figures accumulated? I mean, a small amount of people.
it's a very, very small percentage, Boomy. I don't know the exact figure, so I don't want to just make up some
Right.
statistic, but it's a very small number of people
What?
that are in that position. Once you get, I'll just say this, uh, only about 17% of the population makes over $100,000 a year. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm going to say this too. Out of that number of people that make over $100,000 a year, that doesn't mean they're going to retire with $100,000 a year,
Correct.
because by following this system, you guys know what you've heard this, Boomy, the 40-40-40 plan, where you work 40
Mm-hmm.
hours a week for the next 40 years so you can retire on 40% of what you were barely getting by on. And that's what happens to a lot of people, that even if you make a lot of money, if you don't do the right things with it up front, you can still end up broke at retirement.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, you become a part of MWR Financial, and Brian's system will have something to say about that. He's going to put you on track, guys. I'm telling you, I love it. I love it. And so, guys, I want to say this as we wrap up. Get back to the person who referred you to this video. You know, inbox me. I can tell you more. If it's good enough for me, I'm telling you, when I heard about it, I didn't have to think. I'm like, oh yeah, I need that. I need that. I need that. $79, please. I mean, we waste that like nothing. And so, and it can be tax deductible as well. One of the other things we always do tell people too, there is an opportunity where you can share this with others, and we'll talk about that on another live. But guys, the Make Wealth Real Financial, MWR Financial, home of the instant pay raise, what Brian House has put together is masterful. It's something that we all need, and especially I have a lot of entrepreneurs on my page. Whether you're an entrepreneur or a W-2 wage earner, this membership is for you. Whether, as Brian said, whether you have $2 in your pocket or $2 million in your pocket, this membership can take you from where you are to where you want to be. And so Tyra says, Boomy, I will inbox you and hope that we can chat tonight. Absolutely. We can get you some more details. Any last closing words, Mr. House? Because there have been people who've known you from the past, and I've been saying, hey, you got to hear what Brian's put together. You got to hear what's up with this thing now. So I'm going to be sharing this video with them. Any last things you want to say to some folks, Brian?
Well, one, I'd just like to say hi to all those guys and that have known me from the past. And listen, take a look at what we're doing. This really is exciting, Boomy. You know that the company has grown exponentially. Literally, we've doubled the size of the company twice in the last 5.5 months, which is kind of unheard of in this industry. But I highly recommend you check out not just what Boomy's saying or what I'm saying, but you check out our testimonies. We have a testimonial page, Boomy, that anybody that refers you to this video or anything, have them send you to our testimonial page on Facebook, and just look at the stories of people getting an instant pay raise of $300 to $600 up to $1,000 a month on their existing paychecks. People's credit scores being raised by 50 to even up to 200 plus points already, and doing that in months, not years, to do that. And then, people making more money. And Boomy, I know you said we'll talk about that, but when you take a look at this, if it is something that you decide you want to share with other people, we have an incredible opportunity. And when I say this, I don't want it to come across the wrong way, but I believe we have the best compensation plan in the industry. We pay people extremely well. The company is set up to where I am very system oriented, to where we're able to handle large volumes of clients with minimal amount of manpower, which means that we can share a ton of the profits to the field while still keeping our price points extremely low. And Boomy will tell you, Boomy, you've been around this industry a long time. I've never seen a better comp plan, and I've seen a lot. As far as what we can do.
Well, let me tell you, I've never seen guaranteed income. I'm not gonna take time to get into that right now, guys. But yeah, he gives guaranteed income, and people love that. I've never seen that in this industry.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it. And guys, listen, I appreciate you all taking the time to even hear me ramble, because I know I do that a little bit, Boomy, but I'm excited about what we're doing. I'm passionate about it. I believe in what we're doing. And a lot of that comes from just getting to see the testimonies and the examples of people's lives that were changing. I look like I don't sleep much because I don't sleep much. And the reason I don't sleep much is not because I don't want to go to sleep. It's because of excitement. And it's because we've got so much happening that a lot of times you don't want to step away from it. And it's just fun to wake up every day knowing that you're going to get to make a difference in somebody else's lives. And that's what this is about for me and my wife. It's not about the money. We don't need the money. We can live without the money that MWR Financial brings in. We would be fine for the rest of our LIFEs and our grandchildren and our children's children. And I don't say
Awesome.
that to brag, because I've worked very hard in my life to be able to get to that point. But at the same time, I will say this. This is something that if you are looking for a way to be able to do better financially, but
Mhm.
also have something that you're doing that has meaning in your life, I
Yes.
promise you, you help a few other people and you see the impact that this thing has on their lives, it'll be worth more than any check we could ever send you. I promise you that. So with that, Boomy, I'm going to shut up and I'll turn it back over to you.
I love it. Thank you. I want to publicly thank you for helping me to get my finances in order, helping me to become more financially aware and not just learn. Now people me, giving me a system to truly make wealth real. I love it. I love it. Well, guys, again, get back to whoever shared this video with you. We are on a mission to empower people financially. Again, for all of those of you who joined us on this video, we thank you for taking time out to hear from Mr. Brian House. Share this video, like, comment, do watch parties on this video, inbox people with it, because people need this life-changing financial information. You guys always hear me talking about body wellness, but I always say, don't just have your body well and your bank account be sick, get financial healing too. And with that, we're out of here. Thank you, Brian.
All right.
And
Thanks, Boomy. Appreciate it.
I will see you in Raleigh, North Carolina on June the 1st.
Awesome. Awesome. Look forward to
Okay.
it, Boomy. See you guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.